you begin to understand how to manipulate numbers, because I mean every number has energy. For
Very
instance,
true.
when we talk about personal discovery, the very first thing, the very first component of personal discovery is your life path number, the day you
Very
were
true.
born,
We will talk
right?
on that one as well.
The day you were born, and then you talk about your destiny number, the names you were given,
True.
right? And and when people begin to understand that, I mean, in Christianity they tell you that numerology is satanism. They tell you
Familiar
astrology is
spirits.
satanism, and because they know that those are the things that will empower you, and once you're empowered, it's game over for religion, right? So they will demonize all the things that should empower you, as a divine entity, you know. So when you begin to understand that the universe has a cornucopia of resources, what that means is inexhaustible resources.
Very
Even
true.
if we are 100 billion people on this planet, there is still going to be enough resource to go around.
Too many.
But of course, but because of the individuals and groups of individuals and families who think that they have it is their divine right to be in charge of the affairs of the world, you find them trying to come up with all kinds of aberrations, right? For instance, capitalism, for instance, is an aberration, you know.
Very true.
And if you understand that even the curriculum or the different curricula that you can find anywhere in the world, experiments of mathematicians, all the mathematical curriculum anywhere, whether basic mathematical curriculum, intermediate mathematical curriculum, advanced mathematical curriculum in any institution on the planet, were at some point an experiment of some mathematician.
Very true.
So, see, mathematicians literally create their own mathematical universe. Mathematical
True.
universes. For instance, we are in a simulation right now. We're in a mathematical simulation right now, whether we
Very true.
whether we know it or not, right? So
Yeah.
the way you hack the matrix, the way you hack the code, is you realizing that you need to become a mathematician. And the start point of becoming a mathematician is knowing your life path number, knowing or re-engineering your destiny number. For instance, I was born into a family with a different family name from the family name I have right now. I literally created my own new family name, right? Meaning that it affected my destiny number. Right now, my destiny number is a master number, 11.
Hmm.
My life path number is 9. I cannot manipulate. You can't do nothing about your life path number. The day you were born is the day you were born. You can't change that, right?
Yeah.
So understanding that once you get a handle on this foundation, this is what I call the solid foundation of an individual's life. The solid foundation is not Jesus, like they will say, the rock, the be founded,
The white
be
man's God.
founded, be, be founded on the rock, right? I mean, your solid foundation is your life path number, your ancestral, your ancestral knowledge, your ancestral energy. I mean, it could have been your ancestors, right, that pushed you when you were at age 12 to cause you to move away from under that, whatever that thing was.
Hmm.
Could have been, right? What we call
But
the Holy
Sean,
Spirit,
you said that 11 is what is your number under 11?
it's master number.
Your
Master
no no
number,
your is it your life pass or the other one?
destiny number. No,
Your
my life
destiny
path
number.
number
Now,
is 9.
can I just come in here?
Okay, go ahead.
My destiny number actually is also 11 too. So which means I'm an old soul,
Okay.
So
No,
and
no, it's
my
not your
life path
destiny
number is
number that
5.
makes you. No, 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 no. Destiny number is not what makes you an old soul.
Is your life path, right?
It's your life path number.
Okay,
It's
fine.
not because
I think
because I mean, there are all
be,
kinds of ignorance could have gone into the nomenclature that was given to you, the naming,
thank you because
right?
me
I
me
mean,
I actually checked it online while I was 13 somehow, and I
okay.
got I was when I got the number, when I got the readings, I asked, my mom was alive then, and I asked her, at what time did you give birth to me? I said, at this hour, this hour, this hour. So I pulled up everything, and that was where I started having like, okay, I'm on the right path of life,
Your most important number is your life path number.
which is 5.
Okay, fine, cool.
And I looked it up. It means transformation. That time I was still, as I grew up in this deep. I don't know if you know these deeper life people.
Yeah, of course I do. I do.
So I was a deeper lifer. So I
Okay.
started going to check numbers, numerology in the Bible. So that 5 is the number of transformation, because Christ appeared 555 times in the Bible. You know, the devil appeared 55 times in the Bible. So that was where I now started. And like you said, numerology is the rock of life. The moment you understand number, you will understand life, because mathematics and frequencies are the language of the universe. It's the language of the universe.
Sure.
But when you talk to Christians about it, I don't know.
You don't need to waste your time.
As
You
in
don't need
it
to
look.
waste your time. I don't talk to people who
I've
have
stopped
not by
talking to them, but
themselves
it's just like,
initiated. When I denounced Christianity in 2018, because personally, I led more than 3,000 people to Christ while I was a Christian. So, a lot of people knew me. A lot of people revered me like a pastor, even though I wasn't a pastor. But everybody called me pastor and things like that. So when I publicly denounced it on Facebook, I got all kinds of backlash. I tell you, right? A lot of people blocked me. But guess what? 2020, 2021, all of them started sending me sending me friend requests. I even still got one. One still sent me a friend request. Earlier today, I still got a friend request from one of them. Earlier today. Because they have now come to realize that, okay, it seems that this guy was ahead of the curve, right?
yeah.
While all of us were still being bamboozled and still being indoctrinated, this guy, like the Yorubas would say, Bobo iti jarai, right? You
Living in
know,
the future.
so the thing is, we just need to understand that see, you are already powerful in your family. You're already a source of wonder in your family. The moment you understand numerology, you understand the energy phenomenon, you are already many steps, so in some cases, light years ahead of every member of your family, and which qualifies you to be to be a kind of god in your family. It is what it is, right? So it's something that once you are firmly rooted on it, there is nothing you can make happen. Let them be complaining about the economy. You have your own economic construct.
Things will just start happening for you. As in, you won't know how it come, but you know it's going to come.
Exactly.
You know
That's
it's
the
going to
power of
come.
manifestation. See, 40% of all the dollars that have ever been printed, 40% of all the dollars that have ever been printed was printed in the last 2 years. That's why
Very
you
true.
the U that's why the US is going to be in serious trouble very soon because they have created hyperinflation, you know. So understanding that there is no scarcity in the universe. If you find the energy of scarcity anywhere in the universe, it was created from the mind of someone who operates with a scarcity mindset.
Very
There's no
true.
scarcity in the universe.
There's
And
never
if
been.
if this is your cogitation perpetually, if this happen to be your cogitation day in, day out, week in, week out, see, in just 6 months, you'll be shocked at what you will have manifested. You'll be shocked, let alone 1 year. By the time it's 2 years, you'll become the leader of your clan, literally
Very
speaking.
true.
Because you are no longer going to be premeditating wisdom. Wisdom will be your dwelling place
Because you've grown,
perpetually.
you've grown into it.
Exactly. Exactly. You know. So one of the practical things you can do to ensure that you keep vibrating at higher levels of frequency, is to ensure that the kind of people that are in your circle are high vibrational people. high vibrational, friends, high vibrational. If your family members are unapologetically low vibrational, then you have to begin to create boundaries. You have to begin to keep them at arm's length, because they are going to be energy vampires to you. Yeah, you cannot change your family. Your family is your family. It's your lifetime inheritance, but you can proactively define the entities that come within your space. Now, understand that when I talk about this circle consciousness thing, I'm not just talking about human beings in incarnate form. I'm also talking about your koinonia with your ancestors as well. I mean, I literally started conversing with my ancestors right from my late childhood into my teenagehood. I didn't understand at that time, anyways, but I'll literally be all by myself 3 hours, 4 hours conversing with invisible spirits, you know, and most especially during those days when I was going through identity crisis, right? My mom died when I was 1, my dad died when I was 7, and I I I I I grew up in an environment that was not replete with love, right? There wasn't love. I didn't grow up with love per se. I could even say that I grew up with hate, because me and my elder sister who raised me raised me with the mindset of I'm a burden to her. Raised me with the mindset of, oh, if I had not been born, their mother would not have died when she died, because she died in her 40s, right? She died of cancer after I was born. She died 1 year after I was born, right? So they were, there was this mindset of, if they not born this boy now, if they didn't give birth to this boy, my mother would still have been alive and things like that, right? So that kind of atmosphere. But every now and then, when I get heartbroken, when maybe I get harsh words or derogatory words from her, I could go to the backyard, and I will just literally have this presence. I could not explain it at that time. Of course, I understand now. I mean, when I look, go down memory lane, I can easily see what happened at that time, right? And for 3 hours, 2 hours, I'm talking to myself. But I think I'm talking to myself, but I'm not talking to myself. It's a conversation between me and the ancestors, right? And these were some of the things that really led me to on the path, that I eventually told, right? And once we understand that it's not just about mathematics, it's also about your ancestry, because you are supposed to cultivate a relationship with your ancestors. It is what it is, right? They are discarnate beings. You are an incarnate being, because, I mean, you are the latest version of your ancestors in incarnate form. But you also have your discarnate ancestors. You have your ancestors existing right now in discarnate realm, right? So you learning, one of the major reasons why we 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 are we are forced to get educated about the concept of energy, right, is because as we vibrate at high frequency energy, we're able to communicate quicker or easily with our ancestors. We're able to communicate easily with discarnate beings. It is what it is. What I'm saying right now might not make sense to you know a conventional
It does
person.
make sense. It makes a lot of sense. It does make sense.
Thank you.
And that's why I tell people all the time, if energy can't be created or destroyed, everything that has ever been is still is. So the more we tap
It
into
still
ourselves, the
is.
more we tap into everything that has ever existed.
But Sean, you know that there's this thing about Africans. When I was reading deeply into the African economy before the white men came, there was this thing I discovered. I noticed that in Africa, each family is known for something. You know, like maybe in this family now, what the plants, what they deal with, they're in the corn business. That is what they identify them with. and the whole family, the whole lineage are always in that corn business, and they excel and they're prospering. You know, the other ones might be known for cocoa, you understand, and they will be prospering in that area. Until recently, when you now see that each family member will now start looking for their own way. This one is a lawyer, this one is a farmer, this one is this,
Exactly.
and you know, and I, you know, and I, and I started asking questions like, my ancestors, what actually do they do? And I discovered it, and I'm very, very happy about it. But is there a way you can just elaborate on that one, please?
The only reason the minority race are in control of the economic infrastructure of the world, or should I say Africa, because I mean they are no longer in control of Asia.
That's true.
At least
That's true.
the most part of Asia is no longer under the control of the West, right?
Yeah.
The only reason they are in control, or they seek to be in control, or they were able to successfully become get in control, is because they were able to sow seeds of discord amongst the native communities, the native families. See, you guys don't understand that slavery, and most especially colonialism, was specifically masterminded for dividing the natives. Nothing more.
Sean, please, let me
So,
let me let me let me interrupt you here. Sometimes when I talk to Americans, when I talk to African Americans, or probably black people in diaspora, I tell them that colonization is worse than slavery. Because at least when you're a slave, you know that I am a slave. You see, when you are colonized, you don't know you are a slave. And that is the problem. Because your mind, they make you believe that whatever it is that you're doing that is you, if you're representing your ancestors, that it is bad. At least the slave man knows that this is not my culture. He knows. But the one that has been colonized, that has been enslaved mentally, does not know. And I think that is one of the main problem we're having in Africa.
the thing is, slavery and colonization are the same curriculum. Now, if you say that colonization was worse, maybe psychologically, maybe I could agree. But
Psychologically, I meant.
physically, you don't come near. We don't come near the sufferings, the torture that they experience. Did you
Yeah.
know that some of our ancestors that were stolen from Africa, some of them jumped off those slave ships and they drowned
Yeah, they died. Yeah, sure. They killed
because
them.
they knew that they were going to be reborn. I mean, they knew about the science of reincarnation, right? It's just
Yeah.
Christianity that is demonizing it. They knew they were going to be reborn in Africa, right? Let's not compare anything. Colonization, slavery, terrible, both terrible. What's important, whether it was colonization or slavery, what's important first is every one of us needs to decolonize ourselves first.
By realizing that we are.
Decolonize yourself first. If you do not decolonize yourself, you are going to be suffering from post-traumatic trauma of colonization or slavery.
Thank you.
And the decolonization is what will open door to personal consciousness activation, where you activate your personal consciousness journey, right? Which
True.
will eventually lead to, corporate consciousness, community consciousness, and things like that.
That's
One of the
that's
ways,
collective consciousness.
one of the proactive ways you decolonize yourself. I wrote a book. I published a book last year, March, titled "Personal Discovery Secret," and one of the chapters of that book is titled "The Quadrilateral of Disinformation." Right? Each time I meet any grown-up individual, right, who claim to be progressive minded, right? Who claim to have some big dream and all of that. I ask them this question: what do you know that was not taught to you by your parents, that was not taught to you by your conventional school, that was not taught to you by your religion, and that was not taught to you by mainstream media? See, because all of the things, or let's say most of the things that these four institutions seek to teach you are the content of the curriculum of colonization and slavery. So if I can dare come out of that quadrilateral of disinformation, that's what I call it. If I can step outside of the borders of the quadrilateral of disinformation, all I'm going to start having are empowering content, empowering information. So, somebody who have now stepped outside of this quadrilateral is someone who is now propelled by curiosity, right? Is now someone who does not see any kind of boundary to enlightenment. But for as long as you're within the quadrilateral of this information, I mean, there's borders to, there's borders to how far you can grow. There is limit to how far you can grow, right? So that is the proactive way to even begin to decolonize yourself. Whatever is coming from the mainstream media, doesn't matter how they try to, attach urgency and importance to it. You are just not going to take it. You're not going to take it as anything, right? But whatever is coming from conventional school, you're not interested. Whatever is coming from, religion, you're not interested. There are an eternity of empowering information waiting for you to discover them outside of this quadrilateral of disinformation. There's a concept, a universal concept called the Akashic record. The Akashic record. These are true information about all the events that have ever happened, happened on Earth since antiquity. And your soul has the inherent ability to access this Akashic record, the data of this Akashic record. And the reason the vast majority of the people on the planet don't know about this is because they are trapped within the quadrilateral of disinformation. They have been raised by ignorant parenting, they've been raised by religion, they've been raised by conventional schooling and mainstream media. And so because of this, they are trapped until you proactively challenge these institutions by saying, okay, up until now, I've learned from these institutions, and my life is what it is right now. So I want to test run I want to go outside of the perimeter of this quadrilateral. I want to step out of this perimeter. See, most of what has happened within that quadrilateral is the programming of fear. They make you look like, without Jesus, you're nothing. They make you look like without the so-called Holy Spirit, you're nothing, right? And then they programmed you to think that without the certificate, you're nothing, right? And because of this, you feel that you need some kind of institutionalized entity to tell you what to do.
To validate yourself. To validate yourself.
Yeah, when you inherited an eternal soul, when you are actually the latest version of your ancestors, when you, from the moment you were conceived in your mother's womb, your ancestral initiation was done. And so much, and the ancestral energy is ever ready to download information to you, directly to your soul as many times as you want. But this information is not mainstream, and you find people unnecessarily squandering their natural resources, their time, their energy, you know, their faculties, their mental faculties, their soul, the faculty of their soul, their emotional faculty, their body. They think that these people need to certify them. These people need to give them the go ahead before they can evolve spiritually, before they can evolve educationally, and every other way they need to evolve, right? So I think I've been talking too much.
No, you have not. You have not.
Come on,
You
let's
have
bring.
You
not.
are not.
Go off
You
your
making
mic.
sure
You
let's
know
Don't
I
off
bring
your
love
mic.
listening to you
knowledge,
speak.
man.
Yeah, just speak,
Don't off
speak,
your
Knowledge,
mic.
speak, speak.
knowledge,
No,
man.
don't off your
Everybody
mic.
listen to
Put off
my
your mic. Don't put it off. Put on your
Knowledge,
mic back.
knowledge.
Don't put your mic off.
We are
You know,
And
this
he
is
observing,
knows
one of
bro.
the reasons.
here to
This is one of the
speak.
reasons I
So
tell people
speak.
that I'm not gonna send my kids to school. They think I'm joking. By the time my
No,
kids are
don't.
7 years old, they will have a higher IQ than a professor.
everybody.
They think I'm joking, and I'm gonna do the same with my friends' kids. With
same,
the kids in my
same here, bro.
community.
Same here, bro.
So the African child is going to truly be empowered. This century is a century of reconnaissance. There is nothing that can stop us from making things happen this century. This is the century for Africa's rising. It doesn't matter how decadent the politics is right now. It doesn't matter. See, do you know that there is a, I'm sure you'll be hearing it for the first time, Michael. Do you know that there is a mineral